Welcome back to the Voices of Women Summit, where in honor of International Women's Day 2023, we are raising the voices of hundreds of women so their messages can be heard. Your host for this session is Heather Holloway. Heather is the founder of Holloway Media Services and the host of the Social Media Success for Professionals. She has another amazing guest coming right up. Take it away, Heather.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, welcome. Here we are. We're just rolling right along on Voices of Women Summit. This has been such an amazing day, and I just am so thrilled to talk to you and have you here, Brandy Heflin, because you're going to talk today about the 3 game-changing secrets the diet industry doesn't want you to know. That is super juicy. Cannot wait to dive into that. But first, Brandy, could you tell us, how did we get here? Why are we so passionate?
Sure. I woke up one morning at age 27 and kid you not, my first thought was, I don't want to live 27 more years like this if I even make it 27 more years. It was truly a wake-up call that my habits were shortening my life, and the recognition that I was deeply, profoundly unhappy. And I realized too that I'd been blaming my body for why I felt this way, when in fact, the condition of my body was a result of how I was feeling. And that set me off on my whole health, wellness, and fitness journey, where I've learned the things I'm going to share today.
Yeah. And we've all heard thoughts become things, right? This isn't a new topic. Thoughts become things. Those things can be extra pounds.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Or
cool. Yeah.
also bodies that stay smaller because it feels safer to stay smaller. It can go both ways.
Oh, okay. I didn't even think of it that way.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm going to talk on this more later, but really it comes down to our current circumstances are what feels safe for our system. So if we're underweight, that's what feels safe for some reason. If we're carrying extra pounds, that's what feels safe. And that's part of what has to be resolved. But I don't want to give away secret 3 before we get there.
Okay. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So give us the 3 game-changing secrets the diet industry doesn't want you to know.
Sure. So we're going to start with a little audience engagement. And honestly, largely, this is for you all to see that you're not alone in this. So according to a survey conducted by UNC and Self Magazine, up to 75% of women report engaging in disordered eating in some way. Shocking, right? So put a 1 in the chat if you've ever done this following behavior. If you restricted calories, put a 1 in the chat.
Yep.
Yeah, I would put a 1 if I had the chat open right now. And give me a 2 if you've ever eliminated food groups or ingredients like carbs, sugar. I don't count vegans and vegetarians in that because they have other reasons. But like for losing weight purposes, you've ever eliminated food groups. How about a 3 if you've ever made up for a bad meal with extra exercise? Hit the gym harder the next day because you treated yourself to a night out or something, right? And lastly, how about a 4 if you've ever obsessed over your weight? That can look like weighing yourself every day. It can look like not buying clothes that fit because you're hoping to motivate yourself into that lower size that you want to be in. Things like that.
Yeah.
And now give yourself a hug, because those are only some of the actually unhealthy behaviors that diet culture has normalized. And then, of course, that's just the intro. And I've got 3 more things that piggyback off of this. The first one is that dieting will never get you what you really want. We've got 2 layers to this. First is the fact that most of us diet because we're unhappy with our bodies in some way. We want to feel better about our bodies. And we've been told that, well, losing weight or perhaps gaining weight, but usually it's losing weight, will help with that.
Yeah.
But how many diets have ever actually helped with that? I've certainly had the experience where I've stuck with a diet plan, a fitness plan for a while, and I get good results. And then when I'm feeling like I'm maintaining it, I start noticing I'm still unhappy. I still don't feel good here. So that's only one piece. But the other is something I learned about only recently that I knew since I've been doing this for, a while for myself professionally, and then also far longer in my own life, is that we've been told that the difference between the calories we take in and the calories we use up is what equates to the body fat that we gain or lose. But that's not how our bodies actually work. When we reduce our calories, our body also reduces its expenditure. And when we increase our caloric intake, overfeeding has been studied too. When we increase our caloric intake, our bodies will also increase our metabolism and other functions. So this is, I've absolutely heard in the gym, I think, are we at 5 now? Give me a 5 if you've heard something like, if you can create a 500 calorie per day deficit through diet and exercise, eat less, move more, you can lose a pound a week. And that's healthy weight loss.
Oh, I've heard that one. I've heard that one. Yeah.
Completely relies on the fact that that assumes that calorie expenditure stays the same, but that's just not how our bodies work.
Yeah.
And the real kicker, so I've known that, and I misspoke earlier. It's that I learned about a study that was done, the biggest study of its kind ever done in this area. In the 1990s, the Women's Health Initiative Dietary Modification Trial. Yes, I have that note right here so I can get it right. Is done. And this was supposed to be the definitive thing that proved that low calorie, low fat diets were good for our hearts and for long-term weight loss. The first year went well. By the second year, weight started creeping on. And by the end of the 7.5-year study, the participants who had followed that dietary protocol had no more than about a kilogram change in body mass. That's like 2 pounds difference.
Wow.
So we've known, and that's only one of the studies showing the failure of the eat less, move more strategy.
Yeah.
So, hey, if you have been out there doing this, oh yes, I have. If you've been out there doing this and you're not seeing results, it's because your body's very smart and it's working so hard to keep you alive. And using up more calories than you're taking in isn't going to keep you alive.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. I've done all that. I've tried to count the calories. I've tried to eliminate the sugar, eliminate bread, eliminate this, eliminate that. It's all marketing. It's all marketing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I'm actually in process with a nutrition coaching certification as well, because I want to be able to inform my body image clients with the best information about how can they eat. I can't do meal plans. That's out of the scope of practice, but I can at least give them up-to-date current information about what's going to be good for their bodies.
Yeah.
So
yeah, what I find so interesting is we will be so selective on some things in our life, and yet when it comes to putting things in our mouths, it's almost like I got to survive. I just got to survive. Let me pick this up. Oh, let me pick up this diet thing. It says diet on it. Let me pick that up, right?
Yeah.
And that's sort of not the right way to go about it.
And it's not. And if it's okay, we'll move on to secret 2, because it plays into that. Yeah. And that's that feeling good about your body begins with your mind, like we were talking about earlier, not with the diet. Because dieting so often comes from a place of we're trying to make our bodies change. And so when we stay on this track of picking up that latest fad diet or otherwise and when I say diet, I mean things that are really restricting our calories. Not, there are other ways of framing diets, but I'm talking about like those reducing our calorie intake.
Yep.
So this only is going to keep us locked in a battle with our body to make it change instead of learning how to work together. And of course, we only keep going to diets because it's what we know. So where we've got to go is,
no pun intended, but it's what we've been fed.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is what we've been fed. And there are deeper layers to this, right? Is that we need to look at what are the thoughts we're having about our bodies and about food. Oh man, when we look at a food and say that food is bad, our unconscious mind doesn't hear that food is bad. Our unconscious mind hears food is bad.
Oh,
How well do you think we can be nourished if we have this relationship where food is an enemy, right?
you just
Right?
blew my mind. You just blew my mind. Say it again.
That how well can we be nourished by the food we're eating if we have this antagonistic relationship where
Oh,
food is the enemy?
I've never heard it like that before. You're
Oh,
right.
yeah. And it's so we've got to look at not just how we're relating to food, what are the thoughts we have, what are the beliefs that we hold. And some of the beliefs are conscious mind, and that's actually where I'm going to go next. But some of the beliefs come from our lived experiences, which is where we'll pull in secret number 3. But we have this culture supported by this system, supported by diet culture, the fitness industry, and large segments of the medical community that are telling us our bodies are supposed to be a certain way. And I think we're up to 6 at this point. So put a 6 in the chat if you've ever had a medical professional or healthcare provider use BMI as a reason that you need to change your weight.
Oh, yeah.
Body mass index. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm watching the time too, because I have a little story that I want to share.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It's so critical. I have 2 pieces to it. The first time a medical practitioner told me I needed to lose weight, it was a nurse who had just reviewed blood work with me. Everything could not have been more perfect. Honestly, like everything that was supposed to be high was high. Everything that's supposed to be low was low. And she said, but you really need to consider losing some weight. I was 167 pounds at 5 feet 1 inches tall. That's obese according to the medical community. But I looked at her and said, I just ran my first marathon 2 weeks ago. I am not worried about my weight. And it was true. I went on that next year to run 2 more half marathons and another full. So like clearly the number on the scale isn't telling about what's going on inside.
Yeah.
Nor is it indicative of physical fitness and conditioning. So this was also early in that phase of starting to realize that, hey, maybe what I've been being told isn't the complete truth.
Wow. So you start to question.
And then, I had this concept that I'd carried for a while that, okay, maybe BMI is not all it's cracked up to be. But what solidified it for me and got me on this path to, I need to share this message with others, happened within the last couple of years at a functional medicine clinic where I went because I'd put on a lot of weight very rapidly and I didn't know why. And I didn't want to just be given a pill. I wanted to get to the root cause of this. I had my body composition measured. And I learned that my body is made up of 138 pounds of bone and muscle alone. So without worrying about body fat, I'm a little bit of a beefcake. Like,
Come
all right,
on.
like I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that, And after explaining that, oh, you fall into the more heavily muscle body type, the practitioner then pointed at the weight I'm supposed to be according to BMI, which is 126 pounds. So I heard a record screech. I hope you all heard a record screech. How am I supposed to weigh 126 pounds, including body fat, when I have 138 pounds of bone and muscle? There's no diet or fitness plan out there that's going to change that.
And no doctor is going to say, oh, go ahead, reduce your muscle.
Yeah. So there was something for me about seeing those numbers that just moved it from concept to felt experience that, there's nothing wrong with my body. And I, looked further into BMI after that, actually. It wasn't before, and found out that, hey, it doesn't account for differences in composition, which I had known, but I didn't know it was developed by a 19th century Belgian statistician to quantify the average person in 19th century Belgium. It wasn't developed by a doctor. It wasn't correlated to those biomarkers from our, urine, from our stool, from our blood, that they can tell what's actually going on internally. And then the last nail in the coffin for this for me was learning that in 1998, the National Institutes of Health lowered the thresholds for the BMIs that correspond to overweight and obese.
Oh.
Yeah. And they did that based on a report from the World Health Organization that had worked with the International Obesity Task Force. But that task force is funded by pharmaceutical companies that make weight loss drugs.
Oh,
So we
can't fight the system.
Manufactured a crisis so that people would need more weight loss drugs. Like practically overnight, millions of people became overweight and obese right around that critical age as I was about to be leaving high school and started hearing about this BMI stuff and obesity stuff. And it was just, I didn't learn about that until more recently again. And it was just like, man, yeah, I wash my hands of listening to BMI as a justification for why my body's not okay. And it's like, oh man, when you take 138 pounds of bone and muscle and add healthy body fat to that, I'm supposed to be a lot heavier than what I'd been told. And it's like, oh, if I've been trying to force my body through diet and exercise to be too skinny, no wonder nothing lasted and was sustainable for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, totally backs up secret number one, right? That eat less, move more isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
So it was so important to me that like, oh my gosh, the freedom and liberation. I think, are we up to 7 or 8? If either of those ideas resonate with you in the audience, that there's nothing wrong with my body. And I've been trying to make my body do something that's not possible. I think I might have been doing that. If either of those ideas land with you, drop a 7 in the chat.
Yeah, you're hitting home here with me, sis. Oh my gosh.
I'm so glad.
It's absolutely. So we have a little less than 10 minutes to go. I want us to get to point number 3.
Yes. And again, this comes down to you haven't failed at dieting because of your motivation or willpower. You have, and we all have, emotional weight, including shame and guilt and experiences where we just felt uncomfortable in or about our bodies. And until we've resolved those, we're never going to reach that place of feeling good and feeling safe for our bodies to change. And that's really the heart of the work that I do, is helping people, but I focus on women because it's my lived experience, but helping to uncover and resolve those emotional resonances and residues, get to the heart of the shame that we feel about our bodies. I mean, and it doesn't just, some of it is what we create ourselves. And part of it is living in this system where people will be mean and say things to us about our bodies, or, especially in those tender adolescent years and prepubescent years, I definitely had the experience of adults saying something about my body that wasn't intended to be hurtful, but landed for me in this, I don't know what's going on with this right now. And now you're talking to me about it. Can't handle this kind of way.
Yeah.
So that's really the key, is that when you can address the emotional issues, and we mentioned earlier that our current conditions are created because they feel safe. If we can work with the parts of ourselves that don't feel safe to change, we can help them feel safe now, so that the kinds of changes we've been failing to make with other strategies can finally emerge. So we create this overall congruent, healthy, harmonious relationships with food and body, work with our complete system to make this happen. And really what ends up happening so often is when you reach this place of harmony and just acceptance, the obsessive need to, I have to change my body, resolves, and you can just be happy. And happy might be strong. Content, at ease is a better way to say it, because happy implies positive all the time. I'm a body neutrality person. You can be at ease with where you are now, and then you can make different decisions about how you want to move forward with why are you exercising? It's not to lose weight now. It can be because I enjoy moving my body this way. You might make different choices about how you're going to move. Do different exercise because now You're not trying to punish yourself with movement. You make different choices around food because, again, we're coming from this just more loving place.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. I love those three. Oh, I'm just hanging on every single word.
Thank you.
And I have to say too, like, props to mainstream out there too, with more body positive imaging. And so that helps all of this to see all body sizes, all body flavors out there in print, in just helps so much. Now we have about 5 minutes left. You have a giveaway right now and a VIP gift. Let's talk about it.
I do. So the giveaway is my guide on 5 ways to end dieting and love your body. Hey, that secret 3, if you haven't been doing a lot of personal development kinds of work, secret 3, I have to go look at my inner stuff, can seem a bit overwhelming. So I have this guide as a way to bridge the gap between where you might be with, still struggling with dieting and feeling good about yourself, and that place that we know you need to be to really finally fix it. So the guide is just some simple steps that you can start today. You pick one of the steps and implement that as a habit until it's consistent and comfortable. Then you can just pick up the next one and start working on that, so that over time you can create this really gradual but safe and comfortable change to help get you out of the dieting mentality and having that more harmonious relationship with your body and with food.
Oh, thank you for putting that together for us. We dropped the link in the chat. Make sure to click on that link, put a 1 in there. Make sure, let me know if that link worked for you. I clicked on it. I'm there. I just registered. So thank you so much. Just want to make sure everybody out there can get to that. Hey, real quick, next speaker up is Cassandra Fenwick. Cassandra Fenwick, she's going to talk about crafting the perfect revenge. Next, after that is Arlene Stearns, Command the Room with Style, and Teresa Lambert, how to scale to $100,000 in feminine flow. But Brandy, what I want to ask you is, you've given us so much valuable content. You gave us a free download, but you also have a gift for VIP.
I do. Thank you for coming back. I was going to ask, I have my End Dieting Essentials 60-day food and body freedom program. So again, you might want to make these changes and yet not quite feel ready to come work with a coach one-on-one around it. So I have this offering that pulls in some NLP processes to help with engaging your unconscious mind in making this change and making your results more inevitable, more likely, built on top of and within a pretty standard anti-diet approach with some additional education around how can we change our thoughts around our bodies and food, and then choose different ways of nourishing ourselves. And so that is valued at $700, and I'm giving it away free to the VIPs today.
Woo! So if you're not a VIP, get on there. It's a $700 value, yours if you're a VIP. Brandy, thanks for doing that for us.
Oh, so welcome.
Yeah. Hey, with 2 minutes left to go, can you give us one final, let's say one last word for the audience, a word of wisdom for us that we could take away today?
Sure. Your whole system, your body, your heart, your soul, your mind are working so hard to keep you alive. It's doing a great job. Be kind to all of you, all parts of yourselves today and every day.
Be kind. I love that, especially to ourselves. And we have to do it because we nurture ourselves. And so that's the way to do it. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Those are words to live by. So there we go. That's it for Brandy Heflin and the 3 game-changing secrets the diet industry doesn't want you to know. Brandy, thank you so much for joining us today. This was a wealth of knowledge. Cannot thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather.
Next up at the middle of the hour here, again, I'm going to be talking to Cassandra Fenwick, Crafting the Perfect Revenge. That's it for now. I'm Heather Holloway. Cheers.
Thank you.